Yeah, drinking capsules.
Wow. Wow, we are live. Woo, everybody. Welcome on. Welcome on, everybody. Welcome, Butsy. Butsy is remote. Obviously, Brent's going to be remote as well, our tour insider tonight. So he's going to be joining us as well here in just a little bit. But man, oh man, we're going to let some people join in before we get started here.
Yeah, come on in. Come on all over. Come everywhere in here. Get on in here.
Just like Mr. Rogers.
Come on. Come one, come all.
Love that. Starting off, Trot Golf for throwing in. Hit that like if you're in here. Absolutely love that. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, whatever the hell that is. And tonight we've got a special one here because we've got a live audience here. Love that from the audience. Appreciate all of that. And by the way, we also have a censor button now if we need to. So if I want to go, woo, it feels pretty good to do that.
That's fucking great. God damn, you didn't tell me about that.
Got a few tricks up my sleeve here tonight there, Butsy, you know?
Holy
shit.
Well,
The censor one is absolutely my favorite. I will also say that we have this one too. Let's see, in case you know. Yeah. Oh, 1 second before we get going. I gotta hit record.
Look at your setup over there. You got that little desk. It's just looking sharp, but
There we go. Sorry about that. Gosh, I was not fully prepared there. I forgot to hit the record on the local recording stuff. So, oh shit, that one's way too close. 1 second.
I got to get my camera up in the air. I'm going to be like this the whole time. Yeah. Wait a minute. Get it. How you cook it. Tea and toast. When I stand it. Oh, biscuits.
Biscuits are good. Biscuits are good with gravy. And yeah, Butsy's in a hotel room. He's traveling tonight.
Yeah.
Folks, if you haven't been able to tell, but we are going to get started here in just a moment. We're just loosening up. We're loosening up. Let's we also got Don't know what that is. That's a record.
How's my sound, Maddie?
Your sound is terrible. Terrible but good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you really Oh, this is getting out of hand over there.
Your audio is
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right, we just lost about 35 people from the live stream after that. So Trot Golfer wants to know, am I still on the wagon? I am still on the wagon. I'm drinking these little social tonic non-alcoholic drinks. Blackberry lemon. I will say, as a functional seltzer, it's absolutely delicious.
Very nice. Functional seltzer.
That's what they call it. Okay. Got to put it off to the side. I feel like it's not professional to have that on the show.
It's not unprofessional.
No, but you never know. All right, you ready to get going? Let's get this show. Oh, fuck. I'm so excited. I didn't have the censor button either. There we go.
This guy's getting out of fucking hand over there. This fucking audio thing, dude. Oh, you probably told you do that earlier today. He's just like, I can't wait till tonight.
No, still my favorite is the live audience. Come on, give it up once again, live audience. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. Now, let's go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody, to Pull Hook Golf, the podcast. I'm your host, Matt Cook. Tonight, we have an awesome episode for all of you. We've got Butsy joining us here remotely from a hotel room, and who knows what he's been doing in there, but man, he's looking fresh to death. The cheeks are red already, and I am absolutely pumped for this episode because, folks, I'm going to go over a little bit of what we're going to go over tonight. We're going to go over the tee off report. That is our new segment with Butsy, to where we just tee off on some topics around that. Then from there, we've got the Pro Golf Recap segment, which we're going to be going over the Shriners Open. That was an awesome golf tournament. I love that track over at TPC Summerlin. And let's keep it moving with the Swannies style segment. And then we've got the big preview of the episode, which is the upcoming ZOZO Championship. And then we got some LIV Golf updates too. What was that, Butsy?
Nothing. Go ahead. Kidding.
But without further ado, we do want to mention our sponsors, which I am wearing tonight, the Swannies gear, folks. If you haven't noticed, last week they launched a brand new line, an absolute brand new line. It is called Black Swan. It is a higher end line, a little bit more pricey, but man, the clothing is awesome. But if you just want a great hoodie that is golf appropriate, work appropriate, whatever appropriate, this Camden hoodie. I've had this one from the beginning of working with Swannies, and man, this Camden hoodie, it is comfy, it is nice. It's great on the golf course as well. So without further ado here, utilize the promo code from Pull Hook Golf. It is Pull Hook Golf 25. If you use that at checkout, all one word, Pull Hook Golf 25 at checkout, you'll get 25% off your entire order. That does include the Black Swan collection, which I'm going to be receiving any day now, and I am absolutely juiced about it. Might give you guys a little bit of insight as to the Swanee style segment, as to what we're going to be talking about there. But our very first segment of the night, it is the tee off report with Butsy. Welcome on, Butsy. How are you doing, man?
Tired. I'm fucking tired. I've been in a plane, got there, waited around. I felt the rumblings. So I got this thing, and I won't take up too much time here, but I've never shit on an airplane for obvious reasons. It would be terrible for me. And so I felt the hankling of a turd coming on about 30 minutes into the flight. So I fucking freaked out, and I ate a whole roll of Rolaids in an effort to...
Does that work?
Oh, yeah, bud. But the problem is you're going to be paying for that because that's going to work for about 3 days. So, shit are full. Yeah. So that's how I'm doing. I'm a little tired, but dude, just per normal, happy to be here, man. Light tires, light fires, come around turn 4.
Bam. Let's get it going. Now, with our tee off report, we're going to start off with the good old word association. And first thing that pops in your head after I say the following. Here we go. ZOZO Championship.
Like a bozo, like a clown, for sure.
Hideki Matsuyama.
Sounds like a guy that's going to try to get me to catch a shrimp in my mouth at a cooking table.
Chopsticks.
Hideki Matsuyama.
Hibachi.
Also, Hideki Matsuyama.
Xander Schauffele, whose mother is Asian and grew up in Japan.
Cigar Humidor.
Oh. Colin Morikawa, half Japanese.
That kid Data from the Goonies.
That's pretty good. Japanese golf.
Hideki Matsuyama.
We've got a trend here already with Hideki Matsuyama. Now, let's get into the second part of the tee off report, which is Butsy on a soapbox. Here we go. Now, you've been spending a lot of time at the driving range lately, and I've heard you gripe about a few things, but I need to know, what have you been seeing out there at the driving range lately?
Gosh. I feel like there's this, and I think all dudes know this, and maybe chicks too. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a chick, but the unsaid competition that's happening between range goers out there, I think, is a real thing. Like, you kind of step back, you sip your soda or your beer, and you just hear somebody absolutely throttling on the golf ball. And you kind of look down, but you don't want to really look. You want to look out of the corner of your eye because you don't want to give them too much credibility. And then you kind of notice, hey, it's kind of like sizing somebody up at the gym in a way. You're kind of like,
Mm.
you know what I mean? It's like it's just this it's so stupid, but so you make the comparison and you're obviously going to think you're better than them. So if they're hitting driver, you're definitely going to driver, and you're kind of doing this on off me go you go type thing, and like who's longer and who's got a bigger shalong banger. I think that's going on out there.
That's going on. A little competitiveness out there on the range.
Especially amongst like you might get lucky if you walk onto a busy driving range at night and get more than one guy out there that's got a nice move that's hitting the ball well that probably breaks 80. If you get 2 or 3 of those at the same night, fuck, game on, dude.
Wow.
Game on. That's maybe I'm just out in left field here. Maybe that's just me being an idiot, but I don't think I'm alone in this.
That's an interesting. I haven't been out to the driving range in a while, so I'm not quite sure. But I do recall when I would go out and practice, if somebody did crack a driver, you kind of tend to get up there and really crack one, just to let them know, hey, I'm here too, and I can hit it farther than you.
Yeah, I got a big old set of fucking elk horns on me here. Okay, get into the rut, mark a tree.
Oh, I absolutely love that. Now, let's see what the audience has to say about that segment. They loved it. Big fans of the Butsy on a soapbox segment right there. And that is the tee off report, folks. So if you're out there at the driving range having some challenges going on, just know that is natural. That is happening to everybody. And I think so too, because, it's that competitiveness that goes on. Now, with that, I've got Trot Golfer says no direct looking with
no
that
direct
whole
looking. Side eye.
You got to look.
I don't know. If you know that you're the alpha there and that you're definitely the more dominant striker of the golf ball, I think you could probably turn and directly stare that person down after every time you hit a shot. For sure. Yeah.
That could be pretty good.
That might be okay.
Might be all right.
Anyways.
Well, let's move on. Let's keep it moving, keep it grooving. We've got the pro golf recap in which we got to bring on our tour insider. Everybody, let's give it up for none other than Brent Grant. There we go. Man, that's the biggest applause that I think you've gotten, even on the Corn Ferry Tour this past year, PGA Tour the year before, So that was quite fantastic out of our live audience here. But welcome to the show, Brent. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, guys. Over here in Murrieta, California, at first stage of Q School, caddying for my boy Jared Sawada. Getting baked in the hot sun. It's about 90 degrees here, so got a nice cherry tomato thing going on, which is great.
Sun.
Yeah, it's just basically a straight line across my forehead.
Fantastic.
Anything below that is just roasted. But other than that, doing great. Happy to be
How'd your
here.
boy play?
He played well today. Only made 2 bad swings, shot 3 under. He's 3 back of the lead. We're just going to cruise on through and get to second stage.
Just keep on cruising, baby. I'm doing well. I'm enjoying this studio, this solo. I was telling the guys I might never have them back in the studio again. I feel like I got room. I got the desk. I got the soundboard next to me. God, I just feel great about it.
Yeah.
Well, makes sense. You don't have a 200-ton buffalo sitting next to you or a stick tree either. So
that's the type of episode.
room of plenty.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't talking about plenty.
Sitting there breathing another man's burps for an hour. It's pretty nice. Breathing another man's burps.
As much as you burp and fart while you're here in studio, I don't think I've ever smelt anything that bad.
No, because I fucking keep it cherry, dude. keep this thing clean.
Until about 3 days from now.
Yeah.
I so badly want to ask you, how do you keep your farts or burps smelling good?
I have several masking agents that I use, both. Well, I don't want to say rectally, but that's probably what it is. And then from the top pole, and those two, when they meet in the middle, clean.
That's fantastic.
Wax on, wax off. Okay.
Yeah.
Understood.
That is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Oh,
All right. So that leads us right into the Shriners Open. I mean, I don't think there's a better segue in the world of live stream recordings of podcasts
I'll show you
in the
shrine.
history of the game. This was perfectly transitioned by Butsy to the Shriners Open, in which we got to see JT Poston shoot 22 under. Now, the one thing about JT, he's been a little bit under the radar, I feel. I didn't realize he was in the top 50 and already was exempt next year for all of these signature series events. And it's pretty interesting. He finished 41st in the FedEx Cup this past Tour Championship or FedEx Cup. I don't know what the hell to call it at this point. But the dude's got 5 top 10s this year. And it just kind of snuck up on me. I wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention to JT Poston, but I want to get Brant. Why don't we start with you on your take on JT Poston?
The postman, silent assassin. But it just, the fact that he's gone under the radar for pretty much most of the golfing world just shows you that, the TV only, the camera only focuses on certain people. But yeah, I mean, he's just an ATM. He has been for the majority of his career. I believe he's won John Deere twice. But the fact that he was able to win the way he was, he played well on Saturday and Sunday and got it done. But it was a pretty dominant performance all the way around. To shoot 22 under on that golf course for 4 days, especially with Friday being gale force, is pretty impressive. But I don't know, Butsy, what do you think?
JT Poston. The only reason that I knew that he's in the top 50 is because I bet $10 on him every week, thanks to DraftKings, because his odds are crazy, and he's always up there. Otherwise, I wouldn't know. But that's you guys should have just asked me. I fucking knew that already. So
Well,
I knew that. I like his name too. It's a cool name.
Yeah, and the nickname Postman, that's pretty good.
It's like a fighter pilot name, kind of.
Is a postman the same as a fighter pilot?
Oh, well.
I'm slightly confused.
That sounded like it hurt. Sounded like it hurt.
Oh, you okay?
I just farted.
He is not okay. Those Rolaids are not going to work for very long.
There have been people that have literally killed themselves because of how much they farted in a tight space, and they got carbon dioxide poisoning, I believe.
That's not true.
That's true.
Methane?
It's valid.
No, you're talking about
maybe
that guy
methane.
Dutch ovened his wife, and she died because he put her under the covers. And I think that's
not accurate.
I think
you can't kill somebody like that.
Just for that myth. Mythbusters need to come back.
Yeah. We should do an episode of Mythbusters. All right. Second place here was Doug Gim. Dougie Gim. Las Vegas guy, Doug Gim.
Dougie G.
Yeah. Dougie G he doesn't play very well. And then he pops up randomly every once in a while. He did come up big on Sunday as well. He shot a 65 to lose by 1. So that was 2 shots better than JT Poston on Sunday. And yeah, talk to me about Dougie Gim there. Good old Brent Graham.
BG on the DG. I played with him in Q school actually in 2018. And then just kind of watched him just kind of do his thing. But he's struggled mightily. I think he's gone through a couple coaches and umpteen caddies and whatnot. But he's a phenomenal guy, pretty consistent player as far as what he does best is, there's nothing that's like outlandishly bad or outlandishly good. He's just kind of steady. But doesn't hit it that far, so he's already kind of at a disadvantage. But yeah, I mean, he just basically saved his next year with that second place finish. So super happy for him. But I don't, Butsy, can you breathe? Are you able to? You look like you're holding your breath.
Is he alive?
You're a big fella.
Is he okay? You okay?
I'm fine. Don't worry about me.
Oh, okay. He's alive. Just
Continue.
check your pulse.
Doug
but yeah.
Gim, you want to add any comments on Dougie Gim there, Butsy?
Again, another player. I just really like his name.
What does Doug Gim remind you of? What's the word association there?
I don't know. I just like, if I knew him, he was a friend of mine, and I saw him out at the golf course,
Dougie.
I'd just be like, yeah.
See, his
Every
name
time I
reminds.
saw him.
Oh, my apologies, Butsy. Didn't mean to talk over you there. Go ahead.
What? No, I didn't hear you. What did you say?
I was just going to say that Dougie Gim does remind me of the guy who unfortunately passed away that sang the song "Teach Me How to Dougie." I feel like he was referring to Doug Gim when he did
That guy died?
He died.
What was that?
Yeah.
Guys?
D. Ricky Graham or something like that, I
Oh my
believe his
gosh,
name was.
That was massive in middle school and high school.
Oh, it was great. Teach me how to Dougie. Teach me how to Dougie.
You
That's
have a
Doug Gim.
Press that
sad
cricket
music
button.
you can hit there real
Press
quick.
the cricket button.
Cricket. Yeah, let's go with Doug Gim, everybody.
Wow.
All right, so that's our part of Doug Gim there. Let's move on to the leaderboard rundown for the Shriners. We have Maddie Schmidt, and Rico Hoey at 19 under. Those guys finished in third. Michael Kim, Davis Thompson, KH Lee minus 18. Taylor Pendrith, who almost shot a 59 on day one, shoots 17 under. Harry Hall, Harris English, Gary Woodland, Alejandro Tosti, and Kirk Kitayama at minus 16.
We need that Jeopardy. You need a Jeopardy button. Like as you walk through that entire leaderboard.
That is the top 10 for the good old Shriners. And that's where we're going to leave the Shriners for this particular episode. We're moving and grooving. We're moving and grooving. We're moving right into the Swanee style segment, folks.
Matt's favorite segment.
It's not just my favorite segment. It's become the audience's favorite segment because I'm going to tell you right now, there was a lot of debate after last week around, and I couldn't believe how much this triggered people in regards to whether or not there should be a dress code on a public golf course. And both sides of the spectrum were coming at it. I mean, there's
and autism.
Lots of both. And a lot of people, I will say that they did not like the idea of no dress code. They really wanted to make sure the dress codes were still intact, and they related it. What's interesting about it is that they related the dress code to having, the things that golf teaches you as a youth and so forth around etiquette and being a gentleman and all this. I just relate that to being a bunch of elitist bullshit, to be honest with you. I just think, we need to make golf more, what's the term for it? We need to make it more
available.
Oh, careful.
There's a term for it. But yes, make it more available.
It doesn't start with an E.
No,
egregious.
It does not. No, egregious.
Egregious.
No, but inclusive. That being inclusive. There we go. There's the word. Thank you, Brent. But making golf more inclusive, that is the absolute key. And that's why I said that my opinion has changed, because I don't care if people are going to wear, gym shorts or a tank top or whatever it may be. And that does not trigger me. Like that does not, I don't have a problem with somebody showing up to a golf course. I don't even have a problem. Oh, and by the way, because you mentioned jeans, Brent, people went off on that topic too. They're like, why no jeans? If you're not going to have a dress code, why no jeans?
Dickies overalls with no shirt on underneath, that doesn't bother you?
No, I would love to see that. You kidding me? That'd be entertainment in and of itself. But people then started relating. So the purists that are like, dress code, we need to have a dress code in the game of golf. They started chiming in around the fact that, anybody who dresses poorly plays terrible.
That's definitely not true.
And that is not even close or remotely close. So I found that to be a pretty interesting topic. So along those lines, with our Swanee style segment, the question that I'm going to ask the two of you, and we're going to go over the full outfit. So what is your ideal golf outfit? If you could wear anything, there's no dress code. You can wear whatever you want. Butsy, I'm going to start with you from head to toe. What are you wearing?
Just want to touch on your prior point there, Matt.
Oh.
I have never played with somebody that broke 80 in a wife beater, so fuck that point.
Wait. Get ready to say that again. Go ahead in 3, 2, 1.
I have never, ever played with somebody that broke 80 in a fucking wife beater.
Oh, hang on.
A fucking wife beater, fucking wife beater, wife, suck beat wife.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Oh, that was so terrible. That timing was awful.
No, because I missed the button. I ended up pressing something else, and it got out of hand. Got absolutely out of hand.
He typed an entire essay on that board in order to find the. Oh, I got it.
You need to.
I missed that. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm watching down here and trying to stay.
What the fuck was that? Do that.
What do you want me to say?
Butsy's favorite button. You just push the G spot right there.
I love that.
Right.
There's a few that, you know, when the audio and when we're back in studio, and even when we have all three of us and the audio engineers in here, actually going to be recording some little sound bits too that we can use on the show. So going to go over there Thursday and record some stuff. Jordan, shout out to you, buddy. But yeah, let's. I completely lost track. So Butsy, what is your ideal golf outfit from top to bottom,
head to toe,
if there was no dress code?
The same as it is today. I think I like higher end fabrics. I don't think they have to be tucked in. That's about as crazy as I'm going to get. Shorts. I like the idea of like a tennis short above the knee. Again, very high end light fabrics. Nice polo. I think your shoe game needs to be on fucking point. If you roll out there with some duct tape fucking slides on, no. And if you wear FootJoy Green Joys, I'm not playing golf with you. But a hat, wear a hat if you want to. If you have great like flowing Jesus Cristo hair, like fucking let that shit go. Mine's not like that, and I'm sponsored as fuck, so I gotta wear a hat. So that's where I'm at with it.
Okay, Brent, what about you, buddy?
Oh man, I like what Chalk Golf said. Aside from the jean shorts, oh man, head to toe, definitely bucket hat, an athletic style T-shirt. So like something that's, you know, the famous moisture wicking fabrics, kind of like what Butsy said. Any type of workout short, doesn't matter. Anything mid knee, slightly above the knee. And then we're going to go with no-show socks with metal spikes.
Oh, I like what you said. No-show socks. Those tall tube socks, they look like fucking trash.
Yeah.
Don't do it,
You got to have
folks.
the calves for it. That's just
Don't do it. Don't do it. I mean, you know, the calves that work for it are actually the calves that are tiny.
Yeah, exactly.
It's for the guys that miss leg day.
Correct. They're for
Really?
kneecles. So for people that their knee goes straight into their fucking foot.
Interesting. Like almost like a cankle.
No, like a kneecle.
No. Yeah.
A kneecle. A knackle.
Something very thin. Now, my answer to this is twofold. So I've got one that is more casual if it's nice and cool outside. If it's cool outside, I want to wear a hoodie, something like the Swannies Camden. And then I want to wear like jogger sweatpants. I want sweatpants out there. I love rock. And there's such nice materials now for sweatpants that they don't even look like sweatpants. I just don't have the balls to walk up to a golf course, even a public golf course, with a semi dress code and rocking sweatpants. I just don't feel right about it. So I would love if there was no dress code, hoodie, sweatpants, done. Now, even if there was no dress code on a nice warm day, I'm rocking regular golf shorts. I'm rocking a Swannies polo. I am rocking a hat. I'm rocking no-show socks, and I'm rocking Jordans. That's the golf outfit right there. And most likely 90% of the time, I'm rocking an alligator white belt, cream belt.
My God.
Yep.
Oh, man, you might have just stirred up the entire universe with that one.
Yeah.
So Matt, to your point though, like I think we're in the same boat on this. I just like wearing a polo.
Yeah, I'm fine with
like
polo.
it.
That's the thing.
I
think when Brent and I were talking about it last week, that clip came out, that people were like, "Oh my God, these guys just want to wear whatever." Like it actually, if there was no dress code, it really wouldn't change what I wear unless it was cold conditions.
No,
it would change what I wear.
You'd wear a Barney onesie.
I lost a bet.
If there's no dress code, I got several.
I'm already with my overalls and everything.
Like,
there's
a line.
There is a line.
That line is a Speedo. And by the way, you just shouldn't rock it at all, ever.
Interesting.
Even in public.
Guys going commando on the golf course under their golf shorts.
That's a ballsy move.
Or the old Northwestern fall trick where you wear basketball shorts underneath your rain pants because you know you're not going to take your rain pants off.
Oh, I used to do that. I used to do that a lot in New York.
Yeah, it's a must. It's a must-have.
Kind of brilliant.
It is. Yeah.
Brent, do you feel what you wear on tour is a uniform?
Absolutely. There is a strict. I mean, there is a strict dress code. So, I mean, they have obviously kind of pushed a little bit with like hoodies and you know, some of these like super long like button down shirts have kind of been seen, but for the most part, you got to have your shirt tucked in. I don't agree with the joggers. I don't think that, you know, you should be wearing pants that go this high above your shoe and it's, you know, ankle tight.
They look like shit.
They're so bad.
Butsy, you were wearing joggers literally the other day.
Those, though.
You know, you had literally joggers on. However, you unzipped the bottom so it didn't fully look like it was a jogger. Correct. I noticed. I saw that.
Correct. Brent, why do you wear a cup on tour when you don't play baseball?
It's just in case when I'm hitting my bunker shots, I don't nail myself with the butt end of the club.
I'm pretty sure he does it for the bulge, man. He does it for the bulge.
It
just got to hold it in.
I'm not looking or anything, but like
you're looking, it's okay.
What does the audience think about Brent wearing a cup?
See,
they love it. They absolutely love it,
bro. Got to protect
that one guy in the audience is hammered. He always
hammered
the same thing. It's crazy.
Oh man, but yeah, I mean, even my dad, who wore a uniform for 30 years, said that's exactly what it is. So, yeah, why not? It's a uniform.
Brent, who is your apparel sponsor? Trot Golfer wants to know.
Who is my? Oh, is that what he said? I'm sorry. I'm trying not to look at the computer. Trot, my apparel sponsor currently is Asher Golf out of Utah. Really, really nice company with. They've taken care of me this year, and 10 out of 10 recommend checking them out.
And by the way, so Brent, we have a promo code through them for their golf gloves and stuff, right?
I believe so. Hold on.
Is it Pull Hook 20? Is it Pull Hook 20? I believe it's Pull Hook 20.
That's fantastic.
So,
man, now you're gonna make. I can't even go to my phone. My phone's the camera. So
it's all right. I believe it's Pull Hook 20. Give that a try there, Trot. Apparently, they've got the nicest gloves in the game. Cabretta leather.
They actually do. So,
which Brent, why don't you tell us what Cabretta leather is?
It is stone made, like literally made out of it's goat leather.
Did you say stone made?
Stone made. What does that mean? Stone made.
Made by
stone? They take the leather, the goat leather. They kill, unfortunately, the goat, and they lay it out, and they pound it out on stone. And it's there's different levels to it. And Asher actually has the AAA Cabretta leather supply.
AAA.
Yeah. So,
That's very close to the major leagues.
So they just beat this goat on the rocks.
Yeah.
Yep, that's how they get it out. It's just,
That
oh
is
my
going.
God.
We are definitely adding a goat sound to the soundboard.
You don't even, yeah, just that sound right there, actually.
We're
Oh
definitely
my
going to get Butsy to
God.
record some voices for us as
Oh.
well. Oh, dear Lord.
Oh my
How are we
God.
supposed to even move on from the Swanee segment after
I
that?
think we stick right there.
We should just stay
End it.
on the Swanee style segment for the rest of the show.
People love it.
All right.
I don't know. What does the audience think?
The audience, yeah, who knows? I mean, come on, audience. Where are you? Poor Trot is running a solo effort here with all his comments. I love it, Trot.
Hold on. Do you feel like you wear a uniform? What's your apparel smell like? It smells like, okay, sorry. Yeah,
Trot
sorry,
Golfer does
catching
want to
up.
know. Not that he wants to know. He says he can smell that glove through the phone. So got that going for you, which is nice.
That's
Now,
nice.
the ZOZO Championship. This is where our word association started with good old Butsy. We got the Accordia Golf Narashino Country Club.
Well done.
Opened in 1965 by Shinya Fujita. Okay. And that is a par 70 golf course, 7,079 yards. Tiger won this in 2019.
There's the GOAT signal right there. Every time we mention Tiger Woods.
Yep. Yep. We just need that. Need that on repeat right there. Now, let's go, and I'll turn it over to you, Brent, for Brent's breakdown of this golf tournament, the ZOZO Championship.
My goodness. Well, first thing that these guys are going to have to battle is jet lag. So, fortunately, a large percentage of the field is probably already over there or has been over there for a little while. But you need about 3 days of basically getting back into a routine, because it just, I think it just completely messes you up. I mean, it's at least a 10-hour trip for most places in the States. So, yeah, I mean, when Tiger won, I think it was kind of a chilly, kind of a wet and rainy time. So weather's definitely going to play a factor. It's a different type of grass, which is another thing these guys are going to have to deal with. But I believe it's a shorter golf course, 7,000 yards. It's tight. So it's really just about hitting fairways, getting the right spot on the greens, and as always, making putts.
I'm curious what your opinion is, and Butsy, what your opinion is around the fact that we're kind of in the middle of this season for the guys that are not really in the top 50, and this fall series that's been going on that gives guys that are deeper in the rankings chances to compete and actually try to win golf tournaments. And then all of a sudden you throw in the ZOZO Championship, and now you got a lot of big names that are out there. And this is kind of a tournament to where it's more of a select field, I'll say, versus kind of that broader grouping of players.
Butsy?
I mean, I don't really have words for it, to be honest with you. You're saying that, so you're at the shitter events, and then we throw in like a big one?
Yeah, this is kind of a bigger event, I feel like.
Help me understand what you mean.
Well, it's a bigger event, and some of the top players are playing in it, but also it goes by rankings where, a lot of players can't get into this tournament that are in the lower rankings.
I mean, I'm just going to completely pull this out of my ass here per normal, but I would imagine that's like a good way to maybe keep viewership. Like, I don't know, keep people enticed this late into the season, maybe. I don't know.
I think that's what we've been doing.
Well,
we do that, obviously. We are the PGA Tours, is beholden to us. So
yeah, I don't have a great answer to that question, Matt. I do apologize. Usually I'm pretty good at manufacturing one, but
yeah,
I'm dry on that.
He's got nothing. Brent, what about you, buddy?
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, if we could name, half the players in the field, it'd probably be great. But yeah, I mean, it's the bottom line is money talks. And I don't know if you've got a cash cha-ching there on your soundboard, but
I wish I had it.
ZOZO paid a pretty penny to be where they're at, and that's, hey, more power to them. That no.
I feel like Bewitched just entered the room.
I like that.
That's maybe magical.
That's like
It doesn't get better with the more you play.
whenever anybody has like a real special moment.
It's like a kid on Christmas with the soundboard here.
Dude, I'm
Do it
in
again.
love.
There you go.
Do the little. No, the other one. No.
Oh.
Oh my god!
It's like when your
It'll take up
DoorDash gets
90% of
there.
the clip. Oh,
Folks, if you're listening to the podcast right now, the podcast version without the video, man, you need to pop on the video on Spotify or on YouTube. Oh, man, because there's some special stuff going on right now with facial expressions and just tons of ideas are just
So bad.
forming right now. This might be the episode that leads to just soundboard greatness in the future.
I like the soundboard a lot.
Yeah,
I wish I had remote
Adds,
access to it.
gets the people going.
it really does.
Okay. All right. Moving on.
Hell of a
Yeah,
take,
you asked
Brent.
the question?
Hell of a take. Okay, let's go over the Aeon Next 10, folks. We've been really getting in to the Aeon Next 10 lately. And literally, it is just a whole between 51st to 60th. It's just very incestual right now to where they're just moving around a little bit inside of each other. We've got Mackenzie Hughes in 51st, Harris English in 52nd, good old Seaman Power in
There he
53rd. You gotta love some good old Seaman Power. Seamus Power, that is. 54th is Patrick Rogers. 55th is Maverick McNeely. Then we got 56 with Tom Kim. Tom Kim is falling down a bit. So that's an interesting one. 57th is Justin Rose. 58th is Nick Taylor. Then we got the sleeper, Jake Knapp. And we got number 60 with Kevin Yu. Lucas Glover did not move up at all. He's still in 61st.
Maybe Tom Kim will learn karma's real, acting like a little bitch in the President's Code.
Wow. Calling out Tom Kim. That's
Yeah, lay the
aggressive.
You
punter
can take
down,
him.
dude.
You can take him.
And down goes my score now. But yeah, down in the rank.
Yeah.
Tom Kim and Doug.
Oh my god.
Field analysis and betting odds, my friends. We've got Xander Schauffele is playing this week, so clearly he's going to be the favorite at plus 450. Got Colin Morikawa at plus 650. Hideki Matsuyama at 750. Sung Jae is at 1400. We got Sahith Theegala at 1800. Justin Thomas at 2000. Kirk Kitayama plus 2200. Yeah, can you believe Justin Thomas is playing and his wife is almost due for giving birth? And he's over Japan.
Is she a month away like Scotty Scheffler's wife was when he won?
I think she's closer
Oh,
than
okay.
Scotty's was.
Well,
I
good
think
luck.
like she's due within
Good luck.
like a week or two.
Oh my gosh! Good luck to them, and
Yeah,
wish them all the best.
love that for them. I could be just spewing misinformation there as well, so that's great.
Pronounce disinformation.
Fake news. Kirk Kitayama plus 2200. Minwoo Lee at plus 2800. Bo Hostler, Will Zalator, Siwoo Kim at plus 3500. We got Maverick McNeely and Dougie Gim at plus 4000. JJ Spawn, one of Butsy's favorites, at plus 4500. And we got good old Seaman Power once again here with Tom Hoagie, Max Homa plus 5,000. And then we kind of rounded out with Eric Cole and Max Grazerman at plus 5,500. I turn it to you, Butsy. Who's your pick for the week?
This is tough. I feel like
Tiger Woods.
anybody with a last name with M, Kim, Lee, or Yama at the end of it has a pretty good chance they're going to probably play pretty good here. And yeah, I'm going with Hidek.
Hidek.
The deck
Yeah.
to
Okay.
the E, to the Mott's, to the Yama. Okay.
M, Kim, Lee, Yama.
Truck Golfer wants to know, do you have to pick an Asian this week? It is part of the
No.
prerequisite.
Yes.
But I just, that's like
Yes.
saying, who, you know, am I going to win at the sushi bar or at Texas Roadhouse? Like,
Mm. Mm.
Probably both places. But
Probably both. Come on, don't
yeah,
sell
you
yourself
just gotta
short.
take food out of the motherfucking equation and it be fair. You know what I mean?
Anti-Liv's pick is Tom DeTeeth Hoagie.
Oh Jesus!
You got Hogue?
No. That's Anti-Liv's pick this week.
No.
Who's Trot
No.
going with?
Yeah, who is Trout going with?
He said Zach Blair because he's on the
Oh
wagon.
yeah, he did. So Brant, who you got this week?
Oh my God! Anybody with a Ama, Awa, any sort of like that?
Awa, Ely, Kim.
Oh hell! I'll go with. I think Colin Morikawa actually won this year or two ago. So
Stole my
Forgot about
pick.
him. I forgot about
I'll
him.
go
That's
with
a good one.
Colin Morikawa.
That's a good one.
He's a very good.
I am gonna go just because you stole my pick. I am gonna go with Minwoo Lee this week. Good old Minwoo.
So we're
Could
all
be a huge mistake.
okay.
Xander Schauffele is in the field. Everybody.
He is.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
we
true.
can't go with the most obvious one. I just feel like
definitely not playing. That's
I really loved the Colin Morikawa pick. So
I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna say that.
Trot,
good pick.
Would you take Long Hard Banger if he got a sponsorship exemption?
As long as he can anchor.
Whoa.
Kyle over at the Cart Barn Guys chimes in with Luke List is the winner.
Kyle Mays, everybody.
Now he did have a spirit call like a month ago or some shit.
He
Where
did.
he was correct, and I don't even think he
Ooh.
meant to be
Ooh,
correct.
let's talk
I think
about
I think it was a joke, and it was
Yeah, well,
correct.
we're pretty sure it was a joke he threw out there, and that player ended up winning.
Let's
VJ
talk
saying
about Mossbrucker's comment there. That's interesting.
Yeah,
What do you
will
guys think about
Zalatoris
that?
ever going to be good again, or did the injury bug wreck him?
Let's see,
That's a
you've
good
got a back
question.
injury right now. How's that feel?
huh?
What? I'm sorry.
What did
The
you
back
say?
is the one thing you never want to mess with as a golfer.
Is that what's
Will
going on with
Zalatoris had a back
Yeah,
injury.
he had that the fusion surgery, right, in the lower back.
Yeah, I rode in the middle seat all the way here today. I know exactly. It's not fucking good. I'm in a wheelchair right now.
right now.
So what do you think? You ever think he's going to be good again?
That's tough because he was kind of right at that mid-fiery, like starting to peak, and then all that just disappears. You get a couple years older, and now what?
I mean, he was finishing top 5 in every major up until the
Yeah.
back injury.
Yeah, that's tough. What do you think, Matt?
I think he will. I think it takes a long time to recover from that back injury.
Did he have
I mean, if
surgery?
you look at, so if you look at Tiger Woods, for instance, Tiger's kind of a prime example, had 1 million back surgeries. You look at how long did it take Tiger to get back into form, and it took him a couple years in order to get back from the actual back injury. And I just think Willie Z, like he was
38th, by the way, on the FedEx Cup this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he played terrible in coming back. I just think it's going to take him a little bit to get back to that form to where he's potentially a top 10 player in the world.
Is he healed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him in Nashville, and
Okay.
he was hitting it great, feeling great. I think he's felt that way for a long time. We played a practice round together, almost 2 years ago when he was fresh off the kind of, I guess he was not on the injured reserve or anything like that, but had just come off of a huge break, and he said he was feeling good then. So I mean, he's had 2 years to do it. He placed in the top 10 3 times this year, and obviously played well enough to be 38th in the overall ranking. So
When you put it that way, though, that's a good point. So now, like, my opinion completely changes.
yeah,
He
I mean,
might be-
what's good, right? I mean,
He
because he
might
doesn't
just-
win, or what is that? I mean, most professionals go their entire career without winning a single tournament.
Well, I think Willie Z
Is that
was
true?
heading towards being a part of that elite class of like the top 10 players that could win multiple times every single year. And that's the trend that we're looking at. I mean, we also have to take into consideration too that he did revamp his entire golf swing.
Oh, okay.
So he does not have the same move that he previously had.
Is he playing this week?
Yes.
I'm putting money on him tonight.
There you go. Love that. Jeff, you led Butsy to putting in some money on some good old Will Zalatoris this week. Love that.
Can we? I mean, what's good? right? Like
I think there's levels,
like,
Brian.
what does that mean? What does that mean?
Like, I think there's levels to it. I think there is, you got your top 10 guys. Those are guys that you expect to win on a yearly basis at least once, but these are guys that can win multiple times. Then you've got the kind of your core top names, right? That are kind of from 10 to, let's say, 40. And then from there, you've got guys that are talented enough, but they need to get hot at the right time in order to win. And that's pretty much everybody else on the PGA Tour, in my opinion. So you kind of have this group. And that's where I think Will Zalatoris was becoming part of that group that you expected him to win on a yearly basis, if not more than once. And especially when it came to the majors. I mean, shit, the guy finished second at the Masters his very first year playing the Masters. And then I believe finished top 5 or top 10 the following year, and then had to withdraw the third year. But again, Will Zalatoris, he was trending in that direction. And that's why I think there's expectations. But once again, I'll say it. Expectations are the killers of dreams.
They are. They are. I don't know, Butsy, what do you think? What's good? What is considered good?
Oh man, I mean, I reference Patty P all the time for his tour career. I think that's good. I think if you can consistently make a living at the highest level, you're pretty fucking good. If for an extended period, if you can have a career in golf at the highest level on the highest stage, you're good. Like, you're fucking good.
So half of Butsy's face feels that way. By the way,
What?
just so we're clear. So cameras.
Dude, my back's just fucked right now. I'm trying to, like, you gotta understand, I'm like literally like half laying on this table because of this fucking camera angle. Fuck.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. Go ahead again.
Fuck.
That was great timing. Good. There we go. There we go, guys. Well done. Claps. Well done.
Folks, we are like little kids in a candy store right now with this soundboard.
That's nice.
I love it. Absolutely love it. What about you, Brian? What is good to you? Especially being a guy that has played on the PGA Tour, has played on the Korn Ferry Tour. I mean, tell us what you think is good.
What's good?
What's God body? I think to pay respect to Jeff's question, obviously, like you said, the expectation of winning, right? But from the average viewer, right, good, that's all that matters is whether or not they're competing to win or they're winning, and that's considered a high level of play, right? That's considered, oh well, they're playing good because they're or they're a great player, or they're a good player because they're winning, or whatever. Now, unfortunately, and like most times, what the average viewer thinks is not really based in reality. It's just kind of what they see on TV, and they kind of base their expectations off that. Not that there's necessarily anything wrong with that, but if you, for example, place 20th on the PGA Tour and you make $85,000 to $90,000, did you play good that week? Probably pretty good, considering there's 156 players in the field, right? But you never got any TV time. You got a few points, but if you do that for 15 tournaments, that's really good, because that's obviously really high level, consistent of play across multiple courses across the whole year and all that other stuff. So the issue is like you said, expectations of Will Zalatoris are always going to be very high. But I can tell you, based on just conversations with him, he's chomping at the bit. So I would be on the lookout for Will to win very, very soon, within probably the next 6 months.
Will.
Love that.
They do make a right-handed cadet glove that's called PXG.
PXG, #1 player in the world.
They have a right-hand cadet.
Beautiful.
We should do a whole podcast in the Asian accent just to get
No, we should absolutely not.
From a mud mold of Bob Parsons' right foot.
That is another perfect segue into the LIV Golf updates.
He has cadet toes.
Man, And LIV Golf updates. We've got players. Okay. I actually found this to be really interesting, and I had to make some phone calls today in order to get down to the bottom of this. But players right now that were not in the drop or not in the relegation zone. So they were in the open zone. We have our first player that's been released and his contract is not being renewed.
I'll play.
And that is, go ahead. Why don't you give it a guess?
I'll play. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Brent.
I didn't mean to.
No, who do you think it is?
Well, I don't have to think because you
already know. Okay. So it is Eugenio Shakara, who Sergio Garcia. So he won in the first year of LIV Golf.
What?
And
really?
Yeah, he did. He had a win over in, was it? It was the Asian one, Singapore, I believe. One of those that they played over, and he ended up winning. And then this year, he finished 39th overall. So he only had one top 10 in 2024, but he was safe, right? However, you are not safe anymore if you are in that open zone, which Sergio Garcia is like, no, sorry, dude, not renewing your contract. And that leads into the next question, which is this a trend that we're going to continue to see, especially this year where most contracts are expiring? So remember, a lot of these guys got 3-year deals. Some of them got less and they've already renewed and so forth. But these guys, and let me give some context here. So as I was talking to several insiders about this, they've stated that LIV is not going to continue to provide these lucrative contracts to players. This is now the team's responsibility. So the captains that were given 25% equity in the team, guess what? They've got to come up with the contracts. They've got to pay them. And so this leads to a whole new dynamic. So I wonder, is this going to be the trend that we're going to see moving forward, where some guys that are not in LIV right now, and what's going to happen to these guys that are outside of LIV? So Brent, I'll start with you, man.
Wow. I mean, as per usual, I didn't know any of that. I hear whispers about what happens on the LIV tour, and I mean, the tough part about that is the moment that you put all of these decisions amongst guys that have never really had to manage people, they've never really had to lead people necessarily, over a long period of time, and have to make decisions that could theoretically put somebody in a position where they don't have a job, and those decisions are very difficult to make, obviously.
Sergio had no problem making that.
Well,
his fellow Spaniard.
Yeah, he might be making. Yeah, John Rahm might consolidate his team and just be like packing it in, and then he goes plays with Garcia. Who knows? I think what you're going to end up seeing is you're going to see some of these bigger name guys that do have the ability to bring in that kind of investment from outside companies. What you're going to see is them hiring people essentially that either A, really fit the team, and that'll probably be their first priority, and then B, as a second priority, that don't cost too much. It's a shit show, and I don't envy any of those guys that got to make those decisions. But I will happily put my name in the hat to replace whoever that guy was. But
Anti-LIV just asked the question, are LIV teams their own legal entity now? And the answer to that is yes. They're technically their own franchises.
They're a franchise like a baseball club.
Exactly. So, Butsy, what's your take on it? You think this is something that we're going to see a lot more of?
Well, did these guys know this the whole time?
I don't believe it was super clear to these players that this is where it was heading, because this is the first year that we've had this open zone, so to speak, to where teams can drop players if they don't feel like they performed. And granted, these contracts are coming up. So it's like, okay, do I re-sign Eugenio Shakara and who knows what those negotiations were, right? Between him and Sergio, or his agent and Sergio, or whoever's running the Fireball team.
Yeah.
These are things that are interesting.
I think it's going to be just like a baseball club. Like if it continues down this path, these owners, these team owners, are going to hire managers, and like, yeah, it'll work itself out that way. They're going to manage it like they would any other team. So they're going to
Hmm,
pay guys to do statistics and come in and manage and coach and fire.
interesting.
I mean, just like any business would, right?
Yeah. And that's the key. I mean, they got to be able to generate revenue. They got to be able to pay the players. They need to make sure that they're making money. And I found it pretty interesting around a lot of this that
Cool.
is starting to transform and take place with LIV Golf. And Truck Golfer wants to know, what about Bubba Watson, who is the captain of the Range Goats, but he was in the drop zone. So I've been told that with Bubba, which it is not 100% certain how Greg Norman is kind of working this entire thing out with the captains, because last year captains couldn't be relegated. This year they could, and Bubba Watson ended up in that relegation mode. So I don't know if he's got to go back and try to re-qualify
Well,
through the tournament or not.
it would be like an owner player, right, in the big leagues. Like if you no longer possess the skill to be playing on the team, like you still own, but you're not on the field, right?
That's where I think it's going to head with Bubba Watson. I think
Yeah.
I don't even know if he's going to try to
Unless they
qualify.
fuck it, yeah.
Yeah.
Could he? I mean, I guess let me see how to phrase this. Is it possible that a lot of these things actually take away from, like, because I mean, it almost adds a layer of just, it seems to be very, very complicated. I mean, it's just a constant amount of these changes and rules and differences year to year. And I understand they're trying to figure things out and whatnot, but I mean, is it that the PIF has pretty much said, you know what, we're not going to fork over the, hundreds of millions of dollars that it costs to travel, 5-6 guys, for 13 teams or whatever it is, and they just decided, hey, you know what, we're done spending the money on you guys, and you guys got to do it yourselves. Is that kind of what you're hearing, or?
It is. It's kind of where, Piff wanted to work out a deal with the PGA Tour. PGA Tour has been reluctant in terms of getting that deal done and hasn't been able to. So Piff now, they're at the end of the 3 years, right? That was what all these initial contracts were. So it's like, okay, we brought over these guys. We've signed big names so that you could have additional players and so forth. Now it's up to you as the team captains and owners to actually issue out contracts and to pay these guys. And you're supposed to be doing that through your team earnings, through your individual earnings that you're making. And that's where I'm like, is this enough to keep these guys to stay with LIV Golf? Like if you're a Bryson DeChambeau, for instance, and this might be the worst example because Bryson's pretty much LIV Golf. Like he is kind of known as LIV Golf right now, right? Him and Brooks Koepka are the two guys, so to speak. But is this enough to keep a Bryson there? If all of a sudden Bryson isn't going to get another massive contract, he's like, oh shit, like what am I supposed to do?
Are they obligated to be there?
That's the other thing. Their contracts are done, but they are technically owners of these franchises. So I guess that's the incentive, right? Like when John Rahm's contract was talked about with the $600 million, right? That also was like part of that is the equity from the team. And they valued that at some magical number.
Interesting.
To be a part of that. So that's where it's like, okay. Each of these guys have their equity in their teams. Like all the captains of the teams have their owners of those teams.
So I think it'll work. But is LIV still gonna, like, who's gonna pay for the ballpark? Like, is LIV still paying for the venue? Is LIV still funding?
Yep.
The purses and all that.
Yep, they're still funding the purses. They're still they're still taking care of all that other stuff. But you got to imagine, like, if you're signing somebody to your team, how much are you signing them for? Like these contracts aren't disclosed, by the way. So it's like when I'm digging into this information, it's like, okay, we got to be hush hush in regards to like who they're signing and for how much. But this is going to be an interesting season for us because we've got some insiders from the agent side of things that we're going to be able to get some of this information before it's released and announced. So like we might end up knowing who Sergio Garcia's teammate is before, or who he ends up going with before it ever gets announced. And we might actually know the actual contracts amount as well.
I'm really cheap. I'll just put that out there. Really cheap.
I mean, we got to talk to the right. We got to network and talk to the right people. We got to get this guy's name in the hat. I think somehow.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Let's throw him in there.
To back to your point, though. Yeah, I think this still works, man. PGA Tour. You got to be a top guy to make $5 million a year. Right?
And there's no contracts. So on the PGA Tour, that's something to consider as well. It's like
you're not guaranteed shit. If you give a guy 3.5, you say, hey, I'll give you 3.5 to come play on my team for a year. And if we're fucking good and we raise a bunch of money, then there'll be some incentive bonuses and stuff for you as well. What do you say? And if this guy's a fucking, outside of the top 50 on the PGA Tour, like,
why wouldn't you?
Yeah. They're not going to get 100 million like Rahm and those guys did early on, but you don't need 100 million to be swayed away from the PGA Tour.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And the other question ends up becoming, so since they're positioning this and putting this onto the captains of each of the teams, are they going to continue to try to bring over PGA Tour players in the process? So if this deal isn't struck with the PGA Tour, are they going to try to throw out $1 billion to a Rory McIlroy, for instance? That's the other thing that I'm not quite sure of. Like, if you're a team owner and you're like, hang on a second, you signed me to this massive deal, you are bringing this guy over. Like, are they going to create a new franchise and bring over more people? That's going to be an interesting part to this as well. And we actually have a couple comments here by Ben Hogan 1953. I didn't know Ben Hogan was still alive. That's great. LIV supporters have long said that PIF can afford to keep funding LIV in perpetuity and to give them 10 years for their plans to come to fruition. The other side to this is, why would PIF fund a product that isn't producing a profit for 10 years? That's a great question. I mean, I don't have an answer to that. And I mean, PIF is probably the only ones, like the board that's on PIF are probably the only ones that could provide that specific answer. But I don't think they're going to let this die. Like, they're getting smarter in regards to how much they're spending, though.
They'll do it for fun. They'll do it for power.
Exactly. Yeah. I totally agree, Butsy. I think the misconception is that there is some sort of push for profit to be made. These guys got 25% of their equity. I guess where I get a little lost is, if they've got 25%, who's got the 75%? The PIF.
PIF. Okay. Yeah. So they want to. So here's the other side to it, right? Is that, yes, the teams are responsible for the contracts now, for negotiating that with the individual players and everything to come on to their team. However, PIF being 75% owner, what they were looking at is that they're going to try to sell the franchises at some point. And that gives the captain the ability to be a minority owner at 25%. And then some big owner will end up coming in. It's basically their ideal situation is what the TGL has done, where they brought in the Fenway Group. They brought in, all these different, like Arthur Blank in Atlanta, and having all these team owners that are responsible for all of that and own the franchises. So with PIF, eventually they're hoping that they can offload those franchises and make their money back that way.
Yeah, Hogan just said it, and that's what we've been talking about for years. Anybody that's ever been around business with the Saudis should know that that's exactly what they're trying to do. They've done it with F1. They've done it with football, soccer, football. They've done it. They've attempted to do it with tennis, and a few other sports as well. But I think again, and I think that that's why, you know, to answer to at least attempt to answer the question of whether or not they keep attempting to sign new talent, they're going to run into the same issue that the PGA Tour has run into, which is that there's not a superstar in every single class that comes out of college, and that's it. There's just not. That's not to say there aren't really good players. That's not to say that there aren't high-level elite players, but a superstar, somebody like a John Rahm, somebody like a Rory McIlroy, you know, are literally, you know, once every 10 years, maybe. I mean, Rory's got John by, shoot, I think at least 10 years. So, you know, to say that you know they're going to be able to keep the same level of player coming in and out every year is going to be very difficult. So the only thing is, and I guess I would ask this question to you guys and the viewers as well, is that, so let's say that the deal doesn't get done, right? Let's say that you know the Justice Department or the PGA Tour, whatever happens, the deal never goes through. You know, are we just basically stuck with the TGL, LIV, and the PGA Tour being borderline separate entities, and they're just kind of doing their own thing, and you just got multiple different types of golf to watch, and then, you know, that's kind of it? Like, what do you guys think happens?
Probably.
Yeah, that's a yeah, but Barkley actually had a funny quote when asked about this on a podcast on Sirius XM. He was asked about, is it smart or something along those lines for PIF and the PGA Tour to stay separate? He goes, these guys are idiots. Absolutely. Hang on. Absolutely. So with that, they are not in a, it's so bad for the game of golf, but I just don't see at this point the separation. Right.
Interesting.
I think it's terrible for the game of golf.
I've never thought about that.
I think it's bad for the fans not to be able to see outside of the majors. And that was Barkley's other point. These guys need to be playing against each other more than 4 times a year.
Totally.
And that being said, they really need to figure out a way. And it might just be the fact that they got to let these LIV guys start playing in PGA Tour events again.
That's really all they have to do.
That's it.
It's 10 events a year worldwide. They play for a bunch of money. I
think we're seeing it with the DP World Tour, that there's no real effect by having these guys play on it other than you make more money because they're playing in these events. People are more interested in that. I don't see this deal going through. I don't see PIF being a major investor in the PGA Tour. I think the U.S. government is going to have too much of a hand in diving into the books, and then they've got to open it up for PIF. I think the PGA Tour politically is still lobbying and trying to figure out a way through this. I think that's the ultimate holdup. I don't actually believe the narrative that they've thrown out there that it's the players on the board that are not allowing anything to go through because the players have the control, right? Now, knowing some of the players that are on that board that are in control, yeah, I can see that being a factor, but I think there's a pathway to get this done. I just don't see it happening. And that's disappointing for the fans and everything. I mean, we're not going to see it this year, at least.
Yeah. I mean, but let's look at that, right? I mean, what's disappointing for the fans, right? I mean, think about all of the decisions that have been made over the last 2 or 3 years on the PGA Tour alone. One of which, by the way, was that Jay completely ignored Mr. Norman and didn't pick up the phone, which is all he had to do, and at least hear him out. And then it spiraled and just cascaded into multiple decisions where we're left with A, B, and C tour within the same 150 players, and they, people consider if you're not in the top 5, you're not really all that good. And it just doesn't, I mean, it's just the product is dog shit for a reason.
Goddamn, boys. My brain is just starting to tell me that this whole LIV thing might just eventually fizzle the fuck out.
I think they have their product. I just think that they haven't been able to get the type of traction that they really wanted with it. Some will disagree and say, oh no, LIV is the best thing since sliced bread, and there's a whole fan base and everything. It is not near what it needs to be in order to be
That's what I'm
profitable.
saying. It's great, and I do like the Live Tour, but like everything in my head's pointing at where this is not sustainable, and this is going to be one of those things that we talk about 20 years from now. Remember when they almost did that?
Only
I'm
difference
not-
is you've got $1 trillion fund behind them now.
That is the biggest
Might be the
variable to all of this, is that there is a fund, and it depends on how stubborn and egotistical they are around the entire thing. That are they willing to just lose money just so that they can say that they have a pro golf product? And that's what it ultimately is going to come down to, in my opinion, to where like there's enough within the politics of all of this that big time franchise owners are not going to go and buy a LIV Golf franchise, in my opinion. There's
No.
too much baggage associated with that publicly that could end up hurting your overall business or your brand or so forth. So I just don't see that ended up happening. But I do think LIV has a viable product right now. We have to remember they're still technically a startup. They're still shifting things in the proper directions. And I would just love to see the fact that these guys can play where they want to play. I've said that from the very beginning. I think LIV has an interesting, product offering, and I think it fits in a target market that is not what the PGA Tour hits. And that being said, we just need the ability for these guys to still be able to play where they want to play, in my opinion. Go ahead, Brent.
Initial valuation of the teams, the fact that we call collectively $1 billion per four-man teams, and the CEO is going to go to his board and invest, telling me he wants to invest $1 billion in LIV Golf franchise, Saffron Cox, no ROI. Think about the blowback.
Interesting.
Who is Ben Hogan, 1953?
He's Mr. Hogan.
Yeah,
clearly from 1953. I think, man, I have a hard time. I have a hard time with this just because, for me, I was so hardline on it for the first little bit.
So hard.
Just so hard for it. Actually, hard against it.
You get fucking good at that, huh?
He was really quick. Crickets. But yeah, no, I was. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to be cussing there? I'm not going to be cussing.
Go ahead. Sorry about that. Yeah, he was saying some really bad swear words for anybody that wanted to know.
Naughty words. No, but I think what is difficult for me, anyways, is looking at what's changed and what's come out now that this has been a thing for 3 to 4 years, I think, and then looking at the people that run it and realize that they make an interest every day. Basically more than what it costs to run the tour. So, it's just a certain point where you just have to go back to what they're attempting to do. And I think Greg Norman has always kind of had somewhat pure intentions, even though he's a world-class businessman.
Can I stop you there?
Please.
Because there has been a new report around Greg Norman no longer being CEO of LIV Golf. Now, we reported this going back about a year and a half ago, I feel like. Mark King was supposed to be stepping in and taking Greg's title. Greg was going, yeah. So, or no, TaylorMade. Mark King was with TaylorMade.
Okay.
And then he became this Taco Bell CEO, and he actually left the Taco Bell CEO position around that time that we were reporting, because we had insider sources that were telling us Mark King is going to be the CEO of LIV Golf. And then apparently we got word that he got cold feet and did not end up moving forward with it. There was just too much baggage with it. He had a good relationship too with Jay Monahan and the tour, which was hopefully going to like mend the fences and so forth. But now that report is back that LIV is actually interviewing and trying to find a CEO to take over for Greg Norman.
Do we? I mean, so I don't believe Mr. Norman is that well liked across the board. In
The
general.
live guys like him, right? But
Well,
outside of that,
I don't even know if that's necessarily the case. I think that he drove a hard bargain for all of them, and they were all in a position where the money was good enough. And then they just kind of said, "Oh, we'll just deal with being kind of the first to do all this stuff." But I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, think about what happens in 2 to 3 to 5 years. Like, is Dustin Johnson still going to be playing? Is Brooks Koepka going to still be playing? Are any of these guys going to still be around? So they need to find somebody that's going to be able to take the guys that are basically 17 to 25 and be able to take the players that are 17 to 25 in the world, the elite amateurs and elite pros that are there, and be able to entice them over, because otherwise I don't know how they're going to be able to keep things very fresh. So I assume that's a priority for them, but maybe not. I don't know.
it's going to be interesting. Only time will tell around that, and hopefully our inside sources can provide us with a little bit more detail around all of that. Now, the last thing that I will say is that the teams that will not be changing are Martin Keimer's Cleeks GC. That team is solidified. Bryson DeChambeau's Crushers, they're solidified. You've got Cam Smith's Ripper GC, they're solidified. And Ian Poulter's Majestics, they are solidified as well for their team for next year, which opens up the door for a whole lot of other teams and a lot of players within there for those teams, whether or not they're going to be re-signed and whether or not they're going to be playing on that same team.
Is that 9? Is that 9 players? 9 teams that are restructuring in some way, shape, or form?
Yeah.
So,
well, they're just not solidified yet. Okay. Okay. There might be some trades. There might be there's still stuff that can go on with all of that.
I should have been active listening. I apologize.
That's okay. We're going to go ahead and end that here for this week. There's so much to still dive into around LIV Golf. We'll get into it next week as we keep this conversation going. That will be the end of it right now. With that said, we do want to give a shout out once again to Swannies Golf, folks. Go get yourselves a Camden hoodie. This thing is sweet. They've had it for quite some time, and really looking forward to all of you utilizing the promo code PullHookGolf25. That's 25% off your entire order at Swannies.co. Until next time, everybody.